So I'm with Jack Paar and Kim Spearman. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Hey,
How are you?
good.
Good. So I saw The Last Breath. I can, no lie, enjoy the film. I thought it was really good. So that's my opinion. The opinion that I think really matters is both of your opinions on the final cut. What was your both initial reactions and how pleased with you were the final cut for The Last Breath?
I'm super proud of it. I think when there's so many components and so many layers to shooting, it's not, not just acting, you're diving, there's stunts, there is such a huge team and having to deal with this very dark, very claustrophobic set and bring all those layers together, the accent. I just felt like the project itself was such a fun time and so fulfilling in itself that then getting to see it on the screen, I just felt so proud of what everyone had done and like achieved because I know how hard everybody worked that whole 8 weeks of shooting. So yeah, I was so excited about it.
Jack, did you feel the same or were you more self-critical or how did you feel overall?
I mean, I'm always super self-critical. I think a lot of actors are. They're just, you hear your accent and you're like, oh, I'm cringing. But do you know what? I'm so proud of this. I think a lot of actors will agree that you don't really know how a movie's going to turn out. Like, even if you think it's going to be great, it can turn out rubbish. And then if you think you're doing a rubbish movie, it turns out pretty good. But this one, I really enjoyed the script. I love Joachim. I think he's a great director. So I was really excited about it. And then when we first saw it, I was really kind of pleasantly surprised. I was like, I really like this movie. I've never been a massive fan of shark movies. So yeah, I'm a fan of the shark movie.
I'm a fan of this movie, really love Joachim's work as well. But I know I can't be an actor because as I'm enjoying the movie, I'm thinking the actors must have been put through hell. They must have needed really a lot of training, great physical condition, also staying in the moment and as an actor. Can you guys talk? How were you guys able to pull it off? Because I really needed a nap after watching this movie because I was so tired watching you guys work. So what was the key for both of you as far as surviving?
Well, I mean we spoke about this a lot and it was a difficult shoot. It was really tough.
Mhm.
Not only that you can't take your script down, you have to kind of I decided to learn this like theater because you don't have room to kind of when you're down there like check your script and check your lines and you don't really have a good, dialogue with the director because he's on a underwater speaker. And so you can only really communicate through the lens, just kind of doing this and going, I'm struggling here. So it was a difficult shoot. So preparation was key and it was tough. It was tough. So I'm not surprised you felt like that because we were feeling it down there
Yeah,
and
we
a lot of
went
work.
through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the biggest, like the toughest thing that I found was not only the darkness down there, like I mean, you can see in the film when we're inside the World War II wreck how dark it is, but it really was that dark down there. Like our visibility was really short. But not only that is the communications, there was a lot of issues with trying to make it work with five actors under there being able to hear each other. So once we were down there, the process was it was quite solo because a lot of the time I could only maybe hear one other person in the scene. And when you've got a scene with like five or six people meant to be talking over each other and shouting, and it was chaotic trying to like think I think it might be my line. I'm not quite sure, but it kind of looks like it. So I think that was for me the biggest like struggle was trying to deal with that and give everyone else what they needed in a performance.
My cousin really he misses diving, okay, because he's not physically fit enough to do it now. But for both of you, you guys are physically fit and you have the training to do it. Where do you guys stand on returning to the ocean and venturing it? Is it a passion that both of you picked up, or is it something like you're saying, well, that was me then, and I'm proud of it, and I'm gonna stay on land and just look at beautiful vistas from far away? How do you guys stand on that?
I miss it so much. I think I went through like a bit of withdrawal. Like, yeah, it was super hard work, but like afterwards, I was kind of like, oh, been in the water 10 hours a day for like 2 months. I'm kind of, yeah, land isn't really doing it for me right now. I have been diving since as well, which has been really nice, but it's also nice to do it in a way more laid back setting and just have a little look at the fish rather than, yeah, chaos.
Jack, what about
Yes.
you? Are you at home watching Netflix and saying, I'm not going out on the waters?
No, I actually got, yeah, we got super, I think I could speak for all of us. We got super addicted to it. Like if we
Mhm.
were out on land on the shoot, we'd be like, "Hey man, so when did we get to go back down? Like I'm gagging to get in the water now." And if we had a day of land shooting, we would all just be like, "Oh, I'm gagging to get in the sea." I remember when we flew out to Malta because we did the first leg in Belgium, which is all the studio stuff, and then we flew out to Malta and did the rest of the land stuff. But there was also some kind of diving in that section as well with the open water. And I remember all of us just going, "Yeah, man, I'm just ready to get in the water." Like we were going, when is this the sea scenes? Because we're just so excited to get back in the water. I've not been diving since, but I'm gagging to go again. I can't wait to go. I just don't think the UK is the best for diving, you know.
Right. So, The Last Breath, it's the shark movie, a boat underwater, and that kind of movie, but it's also a movie about friendship and keeping those close ties. How meaningful was this project to you? And then I'm also thinking about Julian's character because without giving too much away, he's also not thinking of himself. He's thinking more of the people around him and who he loves and cares about. What was it like working with him and how resonant was it to watch it and seeing how his character works out with both of you guys in the movie?
I think as a cast in general, like all six of us with Julian, we created like a really nice bond. And Julian was an incredibly giving and generous as a person in his performance. He would always give 100% on set. If he's not on camera, he wouldn't give it to someone else or to throw a line. He would be there 100% every time, making sure that, he gave it his all. And also, he was just so kind and complimentary in his performance, which is, as an up and coming actor and a legend such as Julian, being so encouraging and enthusiastic. It's really infectious and it's just such a lovely thing to hear. And he created a really lovely environment for us with regards to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like he totally took me under his wing and he was so kind to us. But on the friendship thing, I think that it's quite clear on screen that we really bonded because we kind of we did go to Malta. We went to Malta for a week before we shot and we did all of our scuba diving training. So we massively bonded there. And then throughout the shoot, we were all working out our backstories and figuring it out, like in our downtime or in the evening over a meal, we'd be talking about all the characters, and we just like spent every night together. We never didn't have an evening where we spent it together. We just wanted to be around each other all the time, and it was sweet. And we actually did become really good friends. And I think it's clear on screen. I think you can see it.
Mhm.
So yeah, we gained some really cool friends from that, and I think we'll be friends forever, hopefully.
I'm one of those horrible interviewer hermits who never leaves these four walls. So that's my sad story. But so when someone asks you guys, what is Malta like? What am I missing out if I go out and venture forth? Did you guys have even time to answer that question because you guys are so locked in to the project and with the cast and crew? What can you guys give me an impression of what am I missing out on Malta?
Oh my God, Malta's stunning. Like, and we definitely made time as much as we could. We went over to the island of Gozo one day and had a little beach day there, jumping off the rocks into the ocean. Like the city of Valletta is just, I mean, if you love Game of Thrones, a lot of it was filmed there. And that King's Landing sort of big stone walls and like it's incredible. It's incredibly beautiful. And it's a really small island, so you can pretty much see everything. You can drive around the whole thing in like an hour and a half.
Yeah, and the diving's amazing there. Like if you ever want to go
Yeah.
dive, it's pretty cheap. It's cheap to get there. It's cheap when you're there, and the diving's pretty cheap. But you just see some amazing things. Like we went to see some shipwrecks, and like Kim said, we were night diving, seeing all these amazing, like aquatic life. It was just beautiful. It's so stunning. You should go. You should definitely go
And
if you get the chance.
once when I leave the house, but as far as leaving the house for both of you, is traveling and actually exploring different cultures, is that why both of you wanted to get into acting, or was there something that superseded it? Was there an overall just focus that both of you guys, what made this job and profession 100% for you guys?
I mean, I think the travel and the culture is just one of the many benefits, being able to meet different people and work with different teams from different countries. And yeah, that's one of the many benefits I think of it. And I think for me, it's more like a very storytelling aspect. I think it takes me back to being a kid and you to play and be able to tell something and put it to screen and get people to feel something that's yeah, it's really special.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I didn't get into it for the travel, but the travel was a huge bonus. If I was getting paid to go somewhere, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So that's a great aspect to it. But yeah, same for me. I think, I got into it because I just loved movies and I really just thought it was a cool job. And then the real change for me is when I did a short film and I was getting messages from people all over the world saying like, hey man, like you encouraged me to come out to my parents. Like, and that's what really changed. And I was like, wow, you can really change people. Like you can really change people's lives from this job. Like you
Mhm.
can send messages out there, like great messages to change the way people see the world. And I was like, this is amazing. And that changed my whole mindset of acting then.
Final question to both of you is a two-part question. Can each of you name a film that really meant a lot to you as a youth, and what is it about this movie that is special for each of you? That's number one. And the second part of the question is, from your own respective resumes, can you recommend for our listeners a movie or project that you did that you would like us to watch and why? So, and thank you for your time.
Um, Probably I'd say the film that definitely got me into acting was actually Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. I remember being a kid watching that in cinema and just being like, oh, holy shit, this is amazing. And like being fully taken away with that adventure. And I think it was the first time I sort of watched a film that like felt awake and been like, I'm so immersed in this. And then walking away like, oh, that was really, really incredible. So yeah, I think definitely being on the ocean aspect for me with the last breath kind of tapped into that a little bit.
Yeah, and for me, I think when I was a kid, I used to have this portable DVD player and I used to take it everywhere, like, in the car journeys with me. And on one Saturday, I sat on my beanbag and I watched all five of Rocky's movies, like back to back. I've never done that before in my life, but five movies one day. And that movie, or even that, kind of, I don't know what you call it, not a trilogy, but five movies long. They just made me feel like you could achieve anything. Like that, some of those monologues in that movie, Sylvester Stallone just saying like you got to get back up and keep fighting. It just inspired me as a kid. I was like, it made me think like, hey, maybe I could do this. Maybe dreams do come true. And recommended a movie, I would say go watch my first ever short film, which was the one that made, young kids like message me from around the world. It's called This World We Live In, and it's on YouTube. And it was like the first thing I ever did. And it's probably one of the things I'm most proud of because it's got such a strong message. So check that out.
I'm sure you never get over that when you get all that positive message and just from that short, that must have
Mhm.
meant a lot to you. And it still
Yeah.
does. It still resonates with you when you get
It
those kind
still
of.
does. It still does. Yeah, I still watch it back, and it doesn't matter how old it was or how young I was. I just was like, this is a powerful message, and I think it will transcend through time. Like it's timeless because it still means a lot today. So I like that movie. Yeah.
And so the lay viewer, after they watch The Last Breath, they're going to say, well, I want to see another movie starring Kim Spearman. What is that movie or project or short that you want to point them to and why?
Probably my first feature film I did, which is called As I Am. It was the first sort of set that I'd been on, and in terms of like feature film and that sort of size of production. And it was just a really special experience. It was a British coming of age drama. And I remember before we started shooting, they wanted us to sort of bond as a cast. So the production team was like, here's some music festival tickets. Go get drunk, go have a good time, go do your thing. And we did. And it just created this amazing, incredible bond that definitely translates on screen. And I just really related to the film as growing up in the UK, as a sort of millennial person, and experience of going through high school, and it just really resonated with me. And I think it's just it's got so many amazing memories attached to it. And if you want to see some beautiful English countryside in it as well, because it's all set in the Cotswolds, I definitely say give that a watch.
Thank you guys so
I
much for
also
your time.
agree.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I agree. That's a great movie. I love that movie.
Oh, see,
Kim, Kim
you should be
Spearman.
your publicist or your agent.
Yeah,
But very quickly before you go, thank you for your time. But one thing for The Last Breath, it seems like you guys really, your characters bonded and liked each other. You had that chemistry. Is that in general easy to come by, that kind of connection from, or was it hard to work through or whatnot? Because it just seems natural. Is that a rare thing in when you guys work?
I'm laughing because me and Kim knew each other before we got the job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I walked into the audition and I saw Kim in Spotlight Studios in London. That's where they hold like most of the castings here. And I was like, hey, Kim. And there was a Stranger Things theatre audition going off. So I said, are you here for the Stranger Things auditions? And she was like, no. I'm reading in for you. I've already got the part. I was like,
So they were
what?
doing like a little chemistry read.
I was
Yeah.
like,
So
oh my God.
that was crazy.
And so
Yeah.
Joaquin like came out to get me to come in, and he said, "Oh, you two know each other?" And was like, "We've known each other for like 3 years. Like we used to
Mm,
work together at a hotel. Like we're just catching up." So luckily for us, the chemistry was already there. We were already
yeah.
pals, so it was great. But every film's different. Sometimes it's really hard to connect with another actor. Sometimes you hit it off straight away. It just depends really on each project.
I
But
think for me, what I've kind of learned from various projects is putting in that time to spend time with your classmates out of set is so essential because it doesn't, as an actor, you can make it happen, but if you're building from a place where you can go actually have a drink at the pub after work and have a laugh, like it's always going to be better to have that sort of introduction with each other first, I think.
Thank you guys so much for your time. Again, congrats on The Last Breath.
Oh,
thanks so
thanks,
much.
Greg.